Yes, once again, very warm welcome in Lisanics for my lecture. In this video, we are going to talk about macro functions of language. As in previous video, we talked about micro functions of language, which were physiological function that is related to the releasing of emotional or nervous energy, fatigue that is used for sociability, recording function, language is used to record certain things like knowledge, culture, civilization, scientific research, and so many others. In the same way, identifying language enables us to identify certain object, person, places, and that we become able to discriminate among certain things. Another function is reasoning, that is related to the thinking process, and communicating function. Different communicative purposes are performed with the help of language and player. Language itself is a player. Language gives us satisfaction, language gives us peace, language soothes us. So due to the certain stylistic devices or poetic devices. Yes. So now we'll move towards the macro functions of language. Macro functions are the broader division of functions of language. At general level, we divide functions of language. The first function under macro function is ideational function. You may find some micro functions under macro function. For example, here ideational function refers to the conceptualizing process that is involved in different mental activities. Whenever we start thinking, just think about the thinking. If you start thinking about thinking, you would see that is thinking is also done with the help of language. So there are many other micro functions which may come under ideational function, like a reasoning function. In reasoning function, you also use your mind. There is a mental activity which is involved in the process of thinking. As language is a tool for thought, right? In the same way, when we want to identify something, there is some kind of process, conceptualizing, perception of certain things. When we conceive things, person, people, are perceived things, person, people. So activity, mental activity is involved, and that is due to the ideational function. Language helps us to conceive the things, perceive the things, and language helps us to conceptualize certain processes, right? So this is called as ideational function of language. Micro functions, reasoning and identifying function may come under ideational function. Next function is about the interpersonal function. As we also talked about in micro functions, that there is fatigue function that is used for sociability. So the interpersonal function focuses on that the language is a social phenomena. We people can't live in isolation. We have to develop our relationship with other people. We want to be recognized by other people. So we want that other people should have some kind of image about us. So language does not only enable us to interact with other people, rather language also enables the speakers to project himself or herself. So we can project our personality in the way in which we want. In any desired way, our personality can be projected with the help of language. So language is responsible for interaction in interpersonal action. Interpersonal means when we try to develop interaction more than two people, that is some kind of interpersonal function, right? So this is a social phenomena, right? The key points of interpersonal function, that it focuses that language is a social phenomena. Number two, that with the help of language we can project our personalities. And certain other functions like fatigue function and communicating function, these are micro functions, and these micro functions may come under interpersonal function. Another function is poetic function. So keep in mind, poetic, the word poetic doesn't mean that this function is only related to the poetry, right? So this function has not limited scope, or this is not only specific for poetry. Rather, poetry function means imaginative or creative use of language. As it is written, creative use of language, production of imagination, whatever you think in imagination, whether that is present in real life or not. As you see, there are so many fictitious things which are the part of our language, different pieces of work have been produced with the help of imaginative thinking. So this poetic function of language enables us to produce creative pieces of work. As we see different dramas, poetry, novels, all this is the beauty of the poetic function of language. So with the help of poetic function, we can also create, we can also make certain fun, we can also make certain jokes. So jokes and certain other riddles are different kind of poetry or different kinds of literature, all about poetic function, right? So micro function, as we see player function. Player function will come under poetic function. Next is textual function. As the word textual, the word text does not only refer to the written piece of language, rather it also refers to the spoken one. So language enables us to create long stretches, long utterances, or long pieces of language, right? And those pieces are cohesive as well as coherent. Cohesive means, the word cohesive means stick together. Stick together here means that's the unity of structure, how sentences are grammatically correct. So cohesive means unity of structure, and coherence means thematic unity, unity of meaning, how sentences, how thought, idea moves logically from one idea to another idea. For example, if I say the crow was very thirsty, this is the first idea, and in the next line I start using another, that I am also hungry. So now things are moving illogically, although both the sentences are grammatically correct. So unity of structure is there, but unity of meaning is missing. So language enables us to create long stretches of text, and those stretches of language are cohesive as well as coherent. As you see, this is called as textual competence or textual function of language. This is all about the macro functions of language. You will also find the same video on macro functions and micro functions of language in Urdu medium. If you want to watch that video, you can subscribe this channel so that you may get notification, and stay connected with Lisanix to learn more. Thank you.